1, 2, 3, 4. Exact.
Woke up this morning without a warning. Words were still ringing in my head. It came, it seemed within my dream. A gentle voice, and this is what it said. Stop now, you got to stop and listen to what I say. Stop and feel that you've been missing.
Welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom, LFE, and Greg tonight as your happy hosts. And we are recording this on May 13th, 2015. And man, I've had an energetically an excellent week. I mean, it's been, I don't know, I've been up all week. You know that my attitude, my mood's been up all week. And, despite all the other crap that is going on out in the world, you know, the natural disasters, and then we have all the drama going on over in Europe and in the Middle East and right here in the U.S. I mean, all the court crap going on. I mean, if you turn on the major media stuff and just watch the TV for, 15 minutes, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean,
Yeah, I definitely agree. This week has felt a lot better for me as well. Last week was a little tough week for me, with the car issues and everything else. But I got over it, and we came out on top. But this week definitely seemed a lot more free this week. Not so tied down, not so much of a burden on me. So, yeah.
So news? We got some news.
Yeah, well, I don't know if everybody's seen this yet, but yesterday, Tuesday, was another earthquake in Nepal, 7.3 magnitude. It's just so, 7.8 to 7.3 earthquake in the last few weeks over there. It's just, what's going on over there? It's just, just to start out with, just find a few minutes of your day to put some energy out there towards them, and some type of healing, love, unity energy out there, just to try to hold that space for those that are in chaos right now. Let's hold that space for them. But it's just so odd.
When I see stuff like that on the planet happen, and the question I have to ask myself is, what are the lessons these people have signed up to learn?
Yeah.
I mean, because I definitely am a firm believer in the fact that we are here for a certain purpose, and especially major events that happen in your life are there for a reason, and there's something for you to gain out of it always.
Well, it's also that it's said that over there is that one of the main energy glands of the Earth, is
right in
that region. So I almost see it like, what if that energy gland is shifting to someplace else? And it's moving on a higher dimension, but the earthquakes are the third dimension manifestation of it moving.
Well, there's always an energetic overlay of everything that's happening on the physical level. So there's something there, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. But on a lighter note, the news, I just came across another article. I've been looking a lot at the free energy stuff, and I've seen an article of a 17-year-old kid and his friends created a self-generating motorcycle over in Mexico. And they say, in the article it said that they can go 60 kilometers per hour, and it can carry 110 kilograms. Yes. And it starts on a battery. There's no combustion. It starts on a battery, and the motion and the distance and the speed in which you drive the motorcycle is what charges the battery up. And they're projecting these batteries to last between 5 and 10 years. And you don't have to stop every 6 to 8 hours or less to charge your batteries, because the further you go, the more it's being charged. There's been some skepticism about the article written, so everything with discernment, but at the same time, these things are just popping up everywhere, especially for a group of 17-year-olds in Mexico come up with this design that cost them $200 to build.
See, what probably happened is the guy came up with a design 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just, I don't want to say keep waiting because I'm tired of waiting, but, keep holding that space and, something's going to happen. Something's coming and, there's only so long that they can hold technology back from us from enhancing our lives.
Right. It'll get out there.
Yeah.
It'll get
out there. So who do we got today, Tom?
So we have got a special treat for you guys tonight. We have Matthew Bueno with us, and we're going to call this show Changing Times, and for very good reason. Matthew Bueno is an awakened individual that works with the spirit world, his ancestors, and the ascended masters. His mission is to help raise the vibration on Earth and to help people experience the unity collective of spirit, nature, masters, angels, ancestors, guides, and the universe in hopes of inspiring others to follow their own heart's path. Matthew's been inspired by spiritual teachers in his life to share their teachings with other individuals who feel called to this work. He's also been inspired by the masters and angels to teach people to work with the various spiritual healing techniques orchestrated by the different masters. He creates a different reality to help those willing to learn distant healing, hands-on healing, channeling, telepathy, clairvoyance, and other forms to connect with the higher aspect of the human psyche. Matthew offers metaphysical techniques to broaden those already on the healing path so that they may acknowledge their true identity and become that much more effective in the work they already do. Matthew's been a massage therapist for over 20 years, and during that time, he was chosen by Spirit to walk in two worlds, the world of reality and the spirit world. He feels that he is at his best when working with groups, radio shows, conference calls, individuals, and teaching classes in Mount Shasta, California. Matt lives in Northern California, is an active in Karuk Native American ceremonies. I hope I pronounced that right. He chose this location because he wishes to continue creating spiritual connections with the land. Mount Shasta is known for its draw to spiritual enthusiasts and other spiritual seekers who are called to feel the energy of that beautiful place. He experiences the mysteries of Mount Shasta on a daily basis. His website is www.ascendedmasterangels.com. And welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio, Matthew Bueno.
Yay!
Hello. Hey, welcome. Thank you for the welcoming presentation. I don't know who wrote that, but that sounded really good. really, really good.
Oh.
Man, I was like, wow, I do that? All right. That sounds really good. No, I'm really happy that you guys contacted me to come on your show. I was reading a little bit of your website, and I was kind of intrigued a lot. You have all this hidden talent, based on some of the people that you interviewed in the past. I think that's wonderful, the work that you guys are doing and the vibration that you guys are lifting. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sure you're well versed in the 100th monkey effect and collective consciousness and that whole connection and the switch that one day will be thrown. It was actually being thrown on a daily basis, but that whole foundation and purpose behind what we're doing here. I mean, it's a complete parallel to the work that you're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And for me, I heard you the first time, about 6-7 months ago, and I caught 3 or 4 of your podcasts, and I just knew from the first time I heard you, like within the first 10 minutes, I was like, I need to talk to this guy. I have some questions, and he is, I just felt some sort of connection. Never seen your picture, or never hearing your voice, or never even heard of you before. The first time I heard of you, I felt something, and I just knew that, we had to talk to you.
I felt the same.
Yeah, so, and we really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you,
Honored.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay, so Matthew, for the listeners out there who is scratching their head going, Matthew Bueno, who is Matthew Bueno? Can you give us a little bit of background, where you come from and, what some of the major events in your life that took you to where you're at now?
Well, okay, so my name is Matthew S. Bueno, which is Matthew is good in Spanish. So, when I first became a massage therapist, I found myself like anybody else. I was kind of searching for some kind of connection. I was adopted when I was 3 months old. Both me and my sister were adopted in San Jose. And my sister found her birth parents probably when she was in her 20s. But it was easy for her because she was working for social services, which gave her the access to all her files. So she was able to go in and find out who her birth mom was and have that contact. And I vowed over and over, up and down, that I was going to find my birth parents. But I was such an emotional individual. I had so much ups and downs when I was growing up because somewhere inside myself, I believed that I had brothers and sisters. I believed that I had a closer connection to God than I realized. And so, part of that is that my upbringing, both my parents, Mel and Clara Bueno, very, very educated people, from the Roman Catholic. They put me in Catholic school, and for some reason, most of my life, I didn't feel like and I have nothing against religion. I love to hear about the positive aspects of religion and some of the people. I mean, some of the best pals I went fishing with were priests, growing up. And, through that time, I just could not feel myself being connected to stand up, sit down, kneel, stand up, sit down, kneel. And then, okay, now that we're taking the body of Christ, that we have about 30 minutes to go until we go home, then I can get home and watch My Little Rascals, on TV. Yeah. And, for the most part, I was really, really into the family thing. I loved spending time with my family. I loved to go out and picnics and go fly kites and fishing. Fishing was one of the greatest achievements and experiences I had with my dad, is where we can really sit and really have good father and son conversations. And I really enjoyed that. And it wasn't until I got into massage therapy that I started to recognize parts of myself that I had gifts about. I could put my hands on somebody and I can automatically feel what the emotions were trapped in their body. And I can automatically feel the solution to that. But I was afraid, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know, what I was doing. I didn't have any courage or confidence because it was just ideas. It was just something that came through that I didn't understand. And, like any young man, I had this fear of being touched by other men or being touched by people I didn't know. And so as I went through that process in massage school, I found myself being more nurtured by the aspect of that person's touch. So I started to get to know a little bit about the intention of people's hands, the confidence behind those hands, and the wisdom about massage therapy. And I had a huge breakthrough in massage therapy. And it's like I realized, oh my gosh, I got to care about people if I do this work in the world. And I'm actually going to get paid for doing this work. Oh my God, this is like the greatest thing in the world. And it wasn't until I hit like 27, 28 that I had a major spiritual experience in my life that it kind of changed everything. And I had been massaging, for since 1995. And in 1998, I was having a really, really hard time with life. I was addicted to drugs. I was having alcohol problems. I was upset. I was mad. I was angry at God because I was in a world that I felt like I belonged to, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand why I was so sensitive. I didn't understand why I was adopted. I didn't understand why I was thrown into this world without any kind of guidelines. I wasn't born with a certificate that says this is how to do life.
Right.
There was no instructions for me. All it was just, I felt like I had all this sensitivity and this energy going through my body. I was having dreams. And this is like in my, my early 20s, before I hit 30. And during that time, for a lot of people out in the world, during that time in your 20s is when you start to come into your full psychic abilities. But I didn't know that at that time. I just thought I was going nuts. And I had this vision You know, I had this vision one night, and I had a vision of a man on a painted horse riding up to me, and he was a crazy horse. And he told me he was a crazy horse, and I said, whatever, yeah, sure, you're a crazy horse, yeah. And then he says, no, I am who I say I am, and you're going to listen to what I have to say to you. It's time for you to step up now and walk to the ocean where the fresh water meets the ocean, or the salt water meets the fresh water. And I said, okay, yeah, that's great. That's good. And I woke up scratching my head going, man, what's going on? You know, why am I getting all these dreams? And I knew that a part of me knew that spirit was trying to contact me. And
at this point, were you still at this point writing them all off as just dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had no experiences in life that could help me graduate to evolving into living that way.
Right.
Because of how I was brought up and the Catholic schools and everyone putting their own opinions.
This couldn't be
life.
happening to you.
Of course not. I was adopted, and I looked like, the last thing I heard that someone say, oh, you look Eastern Indian. What? I don't look Eastern Indian. And then, you know, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you look Italian. Oh, no, you look this, you look that. And so I had all these questions. You know, I was thrown into this world with a huge 1,000-piece puzzle, you know, right. And I had to put it together. I had to fit the pieces together. And as I was growing up, I felt myself gravitating to massage therapy, the Native American ceremonies. I was introduced to Brother Anthony Panera, a metaphysical teacher that I worked with. I was working at Beach Nut Baby Food Company, making baby food for over 13 years, and just out of high school, went straight into the cannery, where most of my family went. And I met this man, Brother Anthony, and he offered to teach me metaphysics. And because he was homosexual, I completely wrote him off. Like, come on, really? Gays aren't spiritual. That's how close-minded I was. I had no clue. I had no idea. I grew up with the man thinking, men don't cry, men don't do this, men do that. And lo and behold, I started having all these experiences that actually spirit was trying to contact me. And then I was introduced to Ronald J. Pinkham, who is a medicine man for the Nez Perce tribe up in Kamei, Idaho. And he came to me. And he started talking to me about the wisdom and the songs and the energy and this and that. And because he had long braids and he was funny looking and shorter than me, I started to listen to him. And, he made me laugh. And that was the first time that I started having like moments of clarity. And this guy came to me at a spirit, spirit said to come to me. And I said, yeah, whatever. And it's like, and, for an adoptee, and this is the truth of my heart, from adoptee's point of view, we're always looking for some kind of dramatic story that tells the story about that we are truly meant to be here.
You're a lost prince. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to feel like, I stand out for any reason. I wanted to belong, but I just didn't know what, and I didn't know how. And so when I was 28, I was hitting my bottom, and, I didn't feel like I had anything coming. And then Ron took me to Yakima for medicine dances. And he told me that he wanted me to take all my burdens with me. He said, just take everything that you feel that is in your conflict in your life. Take everything. Take your worries, your fears, your darkness, your adopted part, take, your bad relationships, take all the mistakes you ever made, take it with you. And I want you to dance. I want you to dance in that medicine, that short house, I want you to dance to the songs back and forth, and I want you to watch how everyone is dancing. And I want you to give it to the earth. I want you to give it to earth. So I listened, and, I did the best I could, but I felt like I was standing like a sore thumb. I was tall. Everyone was just short. I was this big old gorilla-looking guy in a funny-looking ribbon shirt and moccasins I had just bought the day before. And I didn't feel like I fit in at all, And so I did the best I could. And on the way back, after I did that, I had some kind of change in me that was occurring. The people up there in Yakima are very, very private people. And they won't allow any non-Indian people there at all. I mean, they could be quite mean. But after I kept showing up after 6 years, they had to love me after that. And I made sure of it. So, that first time that I went up there, I learned self-acceptance, just to learn about what I was there to do. And Ron kept throwing me out there. He kept saying, oh, he can see too. He's a seer too. Matthew, I want you to work on this person. I want you to work on that person. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I just told them what I saw, their aura, their guides, the energy in their body. So on the way back, it was during El Nino. I was hanging out with an ex-girlfriend at that time, living in Santa Cruz, California, and it was during El Nino. It was like a big storm, and I felt like I hit a wall because now I had to make a choice. I felt like my world is crashing down around me, and I went to a ceremony, and this ceremony was teaching me self-acceptance, was teaching me self-love, was teaching me that I could be a part of something great. As long as I just focus on that direction, things can open up for me. And I didn't know how I knew that. I just knew that it was there. So as we were driving along Highway 1 in Santa Cruz, there was tumbleweeds going across the road. Wind was whipping. The car was swerving. She had this little Dodge Shadow that was really light, and I looked over, and we were crossing this place called the Devil's Highway. And it's where all the guys get on their the hang glides down there, and they do all that parasailing down there.
Devil's
and
Rock.
I looked over, yeah, Devil's Rock or Devil's something, Devil's Highway, Devil's Cliff. And as we were going by there, I saw with this gigantic river from all the rainwater was going into the ocean. I flashed back to that dream. And I said, pull over. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew that I was listening to spirit in that very moment. It was a crazy idea, but, I watched movies. So I thought maybe, there's something to this. So we pulled over. I get out. I grabbed my rattles. I had some deer rattles at that time. That was a gift to me from one of the elders from Yakima. And I ran down to the beach, and everybody had these like teepee-looking driftwood structures, to fend themselves from the wind. And I mean, there was lightning, and there was rain, and there was the waves are crashing. There was all these guys with surfboards going, "You're nuts! I don't know if I would go down there." And at that point, I didn't care anymore. At that point, I felt like that guy in Forrest Gump. You want a piece of me? Come on, get me. And I ran down to the ocean, and I just started singing first. I started singing, and then all my emotions started coming up, and I was cold. I was cold, and the wind was whipping, and the whole energy of that chaotic scene I felt like that's what was happening inside me. The waves crashing, the wind whipping, the thunder and lightning was my anger and my rage. It all matched what I felt inside me. And as I was standing there, I started cussing God out. Yeah, F you and this, that, and that. Why did you bring me here? You put me on this freaking planet. You didn't give me any instructions about my life. I don't know who my people are. I don't know who my birth parents are, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just screaming away. And then I felt in that moment like two gigantic hands grip my legs. And I just thought, oh, crap. I just pissed God off. I'm dead. And I felt this energy just coming up my legs, like this cold, magnetic, electrical energy just coming out my legs, and it just took my breath away. It's like completely drained me of my anger. But I didn't know that was a good thing. I thought I was battling God right there. I'm going to try to move, and I felt paralyzed. I couldn't move, and I felt that energy just come up my body and just go around my heart. And then I felt myself struggle to hold on to my anger and to my rage, and this gentle, peaceful, beautiful energy melted all that cold ice around my heart. And I felt myself become warm. I felt myself become warm, and I was still, I was still really afraid because I had this energy just surging through my body. And as soon as I let go, as soon as I said to myself, all right, I surrender. This is it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to change my world. I'm going to change my life. As soon as I did that, I dropped to my knees, and I looked at the sky, and the sun just broke through the clouds and just shined right on my third eye, just right on my forehead. Like it was like the sun was beaming everywhere, but for me it was just right straight, like a flashlight, right on my forehead. And I felt at that moment this beautiful cleansing energy coming over my body, and I was just questioning. What's going on? How could this be? There's no way. That's for me. Why me? And I felt at that moment truly loved by God, truly accepted. And then, every time I tell that story, I always get a little tripped up because that was the first experience I ever had that was not orchestrated by man. That's something that was beyond me. That was like something that, you know, you don't ever think of those things through. You never plan that. That just doesn't happen, you know. And so my analytical mind was trying to break it apart and decipher what the heck was real in there, you know. And I'm on my knees sobbing, but all I can feel is this buzzing in my body continuously, but now like deeper inside my soul, inside my spirit, not normal physical where it was had paralyzed me, but inside me. And this voice came in and said, take care of yourself. Be yourself. You have a tremendous gift to share with the people. Use it wisely. And it felt like I heard it as my grandfather, but I felt it like my grandmother. You know,
right.
Very, very disciplinary. So I stood up and I was drained, completely drained. And I turned around and there was all these people standing there, you know, and I didn't notice it until I started walking up. But the wind calmed down, the waves calmed down, you know, everything calmed down. The sun was out, it stopped raining, and everybody was staring at me, which was a little stressful, you know, because I don't like to be seen. And as I'm walking up, my ex-girlfriend, she's weeping, she's crying, and she's, oh my God, they did that for you. They did that for you. God did that for you. And I didn't know what to say at that time. I just was so drained. And I called up my friend, one of my buddies, and I said, hey man, I need to go to AA. I need help. I need you to help me. And without judgment, he says, yeah, I'll take you. So, you know, that was the beginning of my support, you know, that was the beginning of my path where I really felt like something was happening. And I questioned it over and over again, you know, and there was times where I you know, felt like just giving up and doing something completely different in my life and getting a regular job and going to work in construction or being a machinist where I started off doing before I got into spirituality. It wasn't until that experience that everything opened up in my life. You know, I started having these experiences after that with meeting people, medicine people. They started coming to me, started teaching me things. They started inviting me to different ceremonies. And as I kept meeting new people, I started recognizing that all these people in my life that inspire me have been molding me into the person that I was becoming. And so I decided over a period of time after taking metaphysics with Brother Anthony, you know, and that was a whole different experience. I mean, that was just beautiful. I mean, there were some powers that I can't even begin to explain to you, you know, with the things that have happened to me in that time. But, you know, just from that course of my life, you know, there's been things that have orchestrated in a way that have given me the understanding of a deeper meaning in life, you know, and then, after that, I started to recognize that my experiences has been teaching me. Life is teaching me who I am. And as I began to continue to work on people and help people throughout the years, I thought to myself, I could teach this. I could do this. I can share this wisdom. I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And it wasn't until Wallace Black Elk, he used to come to our ceremonies in Santa Cruz, and we used to sing for him at Whole Life Expos. And him and I would just go back and forth, telling jokes, you know, for about, you know, an hour or so, and his teeth would fall out every time we'd start laughing. And so, him and I, you know, got into this relationship where he started sharing with me all this wisdom. And he told me that, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're non-Indian, you know, even if you're white or you're black or you're Chinese, you know, you wake up every day and you have a feeling, you have something that you feel that Creator has given to you. That is your responsibility to take care of it and to share with the rest of the world, regardless of what the other world thinks of it. You follow that and your world will be big. So I listen to that and I hear that and I still hear that in my heart and my mind and for the people that we help, you know, it continuously rewards me every day to hear someone say, you know, whatever came through you that day, it really helped me to change, you know, and just that little bit of validation really keeps me in the fluid and that fuel of moving forward, you know. And so my life has been based upon experiences. This isn't something that I've been taught through in books. I didn't learn this through classrooms. You know, I learned this from being out in the world and having these experiences. And that's kind of where I come from in teaching the validity of the energy that creating that reality for people to feel safe, to help people feel connected, to help people have an experience that only them and their creator can decide on what that is for them, you know. Right. And it's not a preacher's thing, you know, but it's an experience that you can build off of, you know, and that's what we thrive to do. So we completely make a lot of mistakes on purpose,
right,
so we can change the outcome, you know. Right. So yes, so that's a little bit about me, and just to give you some insight about some of the rewards of my life, I found my birth mother after 47 years.
Oh, congratulations!
And yeah, I was scared of doing that for the longest time, and it turns out she grew up on the street behind me.
Oh,
I went to school. I went to high school with my sister.
Oh,
you know, wow. And so on my mom's side, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the second to the oldest. And on my father's side, I have 8 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So yeah. So after 47 years of praying about it, you know, I finally found my wife was actually the catalyst in that, and you know, and said, "Oh, I'm tired of this talking about this. Find your mom." And she went down. I don't know how she did it, but she got hold of Alma, and they found my birth mom, and so I went from there.
Nice. Is it got yourself centered and in the path that you're supposed to be on, and it was given. Yeah.
And I think that, you know, good things happen for good people. You know?
Oh yeah.
And you know, when you're in alignment with your creator and you're in alignment with your mission and your path, I believe that, you know, things happen as rewards to you when you believe that there is nothing else going for you. You know, miracles will show up. Right. You know, and a medicine man back east, you know, he used to say that if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you know, bigger things will happen in your life.
Right. You tell that, how's it go out of the Bible? If you have the faith of a mustard seed and tell that mountain to throw itself into the sea, it'll be done, or something like that. Yeah.
Holy crap, that's in the Bible?
Yeah, it is, actually.
Oh, that guy, he told me that he made that up himself.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never read the Bible yet. No.
Yeah. So, we were talking before the show and about some of the things that you're doing there in Mount Shasta, and you know some of the events that you host down there, and I just thought that we got off into a subject that has slipped my mind. What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking.
What do you mean, earlier before we started the show?
Yeah. Right.
We were talking about Vision Quest and Hundredth.
Right.
That people come up from all over, and the reality shows that want to do.
That's what it was, the reality show. Okay, actually, you know, let's hold that over to the second hour. Sure. In this first hour, I kind of want to touch on, you know, we're titling this show, Changing Times, and we are seeing a change in just in the 5 years that I've been doing this show. I've seen a shift in change in the conscious community. And, you know, I know it's an ever evolving thing, but I've seen a change in it myself that is a direct reflection of that I consider a direct reflection of that raising of the vibration of the level of consciousness on the planet. And you know, when I look back in my life and I look back at history and, you know, look back at the evolution of consciousness on the planet, you know, you can see that change, that really slow change way back in our history. But it seems that we are kind of making a cycle here with that level of consciousness, and we're coming back into a place that's, a little bit more enlightened overall. I guess I just want to get your input on what you see as that change in the level of consciousness or the overall consciousness on the planet.
Okay, well, by my experience and just by being in the collective of the universe, you know, there's like different consciousnesses. You can be in the consciousness of media. You can be in the consciousness of your community. You can be in the consciousness of man and what man says, and that, you know, and what they do. You can be in the consciousness of the president and the world leaders, you know. I prefer to be in the consciousness of nature because the planet Earth already, she knows the changes that are occurring on this planet. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but back in 1984, 1986 is when the indigo children started to appear on planet Earth. And the indigo children have this high vibrancy that they have a contract with Archangel Michael. And the contract is based upon the people who are waking up on the planet. And the consciousness levels that are affecting a lot of people are questions because, you know, the old paradigm of holding and hoarding the energy to ourselves is no longer something that we can do, you know. I mean, people can try to hold on to lands, take the lands from the Indians, hoard our water, you know, control the water. They think they can do all these things, but in the higher consciousness, everything is shifting. The prayer has already been laid out. People are reaching out for that. And either it's going to affect them in their dreams or they're going to feel it in their spirit. And because we're made of spirit and we're made of energy and the earth is made of energy, everything is connected. We're all interconnected. We're all related. Whether you live, you know, in Timbuktu, you know, and you have different shades of red and black and blue, you know, we're still connected. Everything on this planet is our relatives. The sun and the moon, the stars, you know, the different seasons, the cold, the heat, you know, those are all our people. That's all. We're connected to everything. So there is a biological and spiritual frequency that brings us together. The spiritual frequency is what we were made of when we came to this planet. You can't deny the love in your heart. And what you do with that love throughout your life depends on who you are and how the world affects you, your experiences, your upbringing, your belief systems, your attitudes, your programs, your DNA. All that stuff is all part of that. The biological part is the earth, the connections that you have with the people, how you were born, how you're raised, how you're connected to the food that you eat, what you're attracted to, the animals, you know, the relationships with nature. You know, we all have these different parts of ourselves that are growing, you know, in different ways. And we always question the things that we have, you know. And for me, you know, growing up and understanding that collective is like being in a souped-up motor car, like the Batman mobile, you know. I can either really go really fast in this mobile and pass everything up, or I can get on a tricycle or a wagon and slow down and take a look at everything around me. And, you know, you're chosen when the time is right. And the collective on the planet, from my understanding of what the masters are saying, that everything is becoming alive. There is more thin layers between our dimensions that are going to be giving us, even the regular Joe, the foresight, the insight about some of the energies, the masters, the spirits, star people, UFOs. In Mount Shasta alone, there's a very, very thin layer that you have to be in humility and able to see that energy. And the Krug people and the elders say that, you know, if you go to the top of the mountain, you're all about ego. If you stay below that line, you know, of halfway up the mountain, you're going to be in that energy where you're going to start seeing stuff, and you always cleanse yourself. So in the collective of the planet and the changing of times, it's like a tsunami of energy that's been growing for a while. Now you can either be behind your spirit, behind the tsunami, or in front of your spirit, you know, rushing your life, you know, and sooner or later, a lot of us are going to be chosen, and we're not going to know why, and we're going to be afraid, because a lot of ways that people react to change is fear. You know, if people understand something, the first thing is we react, right? They understand. And so more people, and I put the mission on myself, and there are other people in the collective who are trying to create teachers, people who are going to be available empathically, telepathy, you know, to be available for those people who wake up. And it will be not this generation, but 3 generations down the line that our people say that people are going to start to recognize the differences, that there's no difference, that we're all one on this planet. But it's going to take 3 generations. So for my generation and three generations past that, you know, that's what I have to work forward to. So as an individual, like I heard you guys talking about earlier about the news and about this or that, I don't get caught up in that stuff because I don't watch the news, briefly I look at MSN and something's going on, and learn to pray for those places, find out what needs prayer. That's probably the only reason why I go to the news.
Yep.
But, I don't go there. My world and the world that we create in this reality is a spiritual world. And that's why, in my statement about my bio is that I walk in two different worlds. I walk in this world of unity with the planet Earth, with the universe and with my path. Hey, and I'm not perfect at all by any means, I make mistakes, I'm a dad and I'm a husband and I'm still learning how to do that,
Right.
And so a lot of the indigo children have this huge, 1984 to 1986, we're 2015 now, and a lot of these young adults are super sensitive. And this is why we need to have some kind of rites of passage for our children today. They need to feel important. They need to feel like they belong. They need to feel like they have a mission on this planet. We have to start treating our kids like they have the answers. Education and schools, I think in my own opinion, they're a little bit off.
A little bit?
Off tangent there. Everything's computers now, everything separates us from each other. Right. And I think it's a huge thing that, people put autistic kids and kids with Asperger's, in a different category of people. When I believe that they have the answers, a lot of them have that beautiful mindset. They're brilliant about what they do and set their mind to. And so our children in that collective of that indigo light that broadens the energy and expands the earth, is going to start penetrating to people's belief systems. And, in this generation alone, in our generation now, you're going to see a lot of changes about people, and you're going to see a lot of, biblical religions going at it. You're going to see a lot of people because they know, even the president, the Pope, he knows, they all know that the inner light is starting to grow in all of us because we're connected to this beautiful biological planet that feeds into us. And then our spiritual connection that we have with Creator of what He put into us when we were born, you can't deny that light. You can't deny that love that we carry inside. And so that collective is going to start burning out those old attributes that we've been so prone to be part of, and so a lot of values is going to be changing over the years, and you're going to see a great spark of positive energies and positive outcomes and a lot of great things. And right now it doesn't really seem like that because the media focuses on all the dramatic stuff that's going on in the world, and and ISIS and all this stuff that sells newspapers and sells whatever they're trying to sell. But underneath that, there's a beautiful energy that's just being resonating out of the planet to help people change. And whenever there's a huge change about to occur is when the world gets into chaos. Because everyone's running around with their heads cut off trying to figure out how to do it, how to understand it, So that's my take on it, and I thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, I think we're in for one of those changes really soon. I mean, right now, the planet is in chaos right at the moment. I mean, it's, and even despite, LFE and I mentioned the energy that we've experienced the last few days here being just really up. The energy's just been up, the attitude's been up, very optimistic and positive, and while looking out the window, for the proverbial window at the rest of the world, it's in chaos. There's all sorts of nasty things going on. I mean, just look at the weather in the U.S. I mean, they've been getting hammered back east, and the South are getting snow in Texas in May. What? I mean, it's just absolutely crazy out there. So I would say we're definitely ready for a big one.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about, there's different levels of consciousness out there, the political consciousness, the news consciousness, and everybody chooses what level of consciousness that they want to be absorbed in, and like what you said, you choose the level of consciousness to be in nature, and I think a lot of us also choose that. And I also see a lot of people, getting out of that, we got this, election coming up here real soon, and I'm not seeing any real big hype around it. I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about it like they talked about the last election. I just see a lot of people steering away from those levels of consciousness, and maybe not going to nature or other things, but just going inside or just being open for new ideas and new experiences. So, I mean, I just look around at everybody that's in my immediate life. I just see everybody either going within or taking to something that's within, but that's also a higher level of consciousness. And it's just spreading. People are choosing not to engage in the news, not to engage in the political scandals, and not to engage in this and that and the other, because they're realizing, that what does it matter? It's not even real. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and for a lot of us, just in general, I think that what we choose to be our perceptions is what we feel that is our comfort zone. I mean, if we don't feel like we're being supported on our path, why come out of the box? Why come out of the closet? Why choose something else? And unless you have that beautiful support system that people are uplifting you and helping you to move through your processes and validating your love and validating your friendship and telling you good things every day. My wife, she gets up and she sings to my son every day. She sings to him, and she has a beautiful voice. She never likes to talk about her voice, but she has a beautiful voice, and I hear that. I hear her love for her son, and for our son Jason. And, when she's choosing that energy, and he has a hard time. He has a hard time with being himself and being social, and he has Asperger's, and he has a lot of social skills that he's still working on. But he's an indigo child, and we have to treat him as such. We have to be able to infuse that validation of him being special, being magical. And, even though he likes to box and karate chop and break stuff and throw stuff around, I still ask him, hey, what color do you see around my friend? Oh, purple, blue, and pink. Oh, yeah? There's something brown over here. And I say, oh, wow, what is that? And then he goes, well, it feels like they're holding on to anger, Dad. Oh, yeah, okay, that's probably cute. Does that resonate?
Nice.
So I always get them to look at colors or do stuff, because I want to take my son, when he turns 16, I want to take him up to the mountains, build a sweat lodge, and let him, take down a deer or whatever, a squirrel, something to prove himself to, not to us, but to himself, and to have all my brothers there, and to treat him that way, to give him that respect, and I believe that, children are our future. And if we don't take care of that, take care of our kids, then we're not going to have a future that way.
Right.
So, yeah. So go ahead.
So earlier in you mentioned earlier that the prayer had already been laid out for the planet. Would you expand on that a little bit? What do you mean by the prayer that has been laid out on the planet already?
Well, it's an individual achievement. You have your connection to your Creator. Everyone has their own intimate connection to their God, to their Creator, to their belief systems, to what your reality, your perceptions are on the planet. And I have mine. And I believe in my world, the prayer has been laid out for people to walk in a good way, to have acceptance, to believe certain things. And I believe that in my world that I am creating for myself now, with all my students, with my teachers, with the Ascended Masters, that greater things are going to continue to happen. And as I keep believing that way, and I keep seeing life occur that way, I know that my prayers are being answered. Because all I have right now is everything in my experience to go on. I mean, not in a million years did I ever think that I would find my birth mom. Not in a million years that I would ever believe that I would be a sun dancer and I would finish my commitment. That's a hard ceremony, It's not for everybody. Not in a million years I ever thought that I would be a drum leader, and I'm a drum leader. I have played a leadership role in the ceremonies here in Mount Shasta. Not in a million years I ever think that a reality show would want to interview me and do a life around me about what we have done. We do things consciously and subconsciously in this world. And God has already, and the Creator has already laid out this beautiful heaven upon the planet. It's what you choose that makes the difference. You know, whether you choose hatred over love or love over hatred, you know, God's still going to love you no matter what. You know, your life is going to be where it is. But, you know, your training to excellence doesn't mean getting there. It means what you do to get there. It means how you love your life, how you respect what you've been given as free will. You know, what you've been given in this beautiful, special world. This is a gift. This life is a gift, you know, and that's the prayer. You know, that is what we have to offer each other. And I'm sure that there's going to be murders, and there's going to be earthquakes, and there's going to be chaos, but you know what? It's what we choose and how we choose to react to those realities. We can either say, God's mad at us and he's destroying the earth, this is the wrath, this is what the Bible says, blah, 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 and create fear, and say, oh no, this is just a part of life. You know, we just got to roll with it. You know, we just got to be fluid, pray on it, help those people to understand that. You know, reach out, do some service work. You know, when you're doing some service for someone else, your life is being taken care of. You know, that prayer is about astonishing all your misbeliefs about yourself. It's about opening up your mind and teaching you how to love yourself at a deeper level, if not allowing another to help you get there. You know, this is a you, we, and us world. This isn't about me, myself, and I. This is about coming together and making something happen in this prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely agree. So with that, let me tell you a quick history of myself, just so I can get to my question. But I spent 4 years working at a juvenile prison where I was asked to volunteer for the Native group, and I had no idea about Native culture at all. And I get thrown into the Native group, and I spend the next 4 years doing sweat lodges every 3 weeks or so. Helped out at a Sundance ceremony here. I did Bleche also, and I was raised Roman Catholic. I went to Mass every week, confession, First Communion, all that stuff too. And you know, none of that stuff really resonated with me ever. I got into, just by chance, you know, right place at the right time, I got into Native American culture. And you know, I was fully immersed in it and fully immersed in the ceremonies, and it really, really opened me up to whole new ways of thinking and new understandings about myself and about everything else around me and how connected we all are. You know, we are all one. You know. So with that being said, I learned about you know how to pour sweat lodges, how to lead sweat lodges. I learned from the elders here in Washington State, and some from South Dakota. And I've taken that information and I've ate it, you know, and I agree with so much of it, and it really resonates with me. And now we do sweat lodges at my house now, normally on the full moon and the new moon, and you know, I'm very open with it, and I don't really have, you know, everybody comes with what their intentions are going to be, what they want to put out there, you know, and we talk about what we're going to do in the sweat lodge beforehand, but we don't really have a structure for the rounds. It's very open, you know. There's no dogma behind it. There's no judgment behind it. There's no ego behind it, and everybody does whatever's comfortable for them, and there's no there's no real structure behind it besides the structure of everybody's coming from their highest good. And so what my question is that you see these old ceremonies and these old traditions evolving in a new way nowadays. So for instance, ceremonies that worked 1,000 years ago in that energetic field that was out 1,000 years ago, do they still work the same today? Or not only do they still work the same today, but can we evolve those ceremonies? Can we get out of the whole right way of doing something opposed to the wrong way of doing something and just doing it out of love?
Yeah. That's a trick question there, young man.
We like to
gotta
test
be
our
very
guests.
careful about how I answer this one to you.
You just wait for my next
over
question.
the years,
Oh boy.
okay. Over the years, I've had many people come up to me and tell me that they wanted to build a lodge. And I asked them, well, what's your intention? Well, I wanna, do it like Uncle Charlie does it. I wanna bring big rocks in and sweat everybody up. And I said, okay, well, that's a good intention. But what's your prayer? Have you been chosen? Did you go up on the hill? Did you make your connection to Creator? Did Creator tell you this is what He wants you to do? Did you sundance? Did you go out to the tree? Is this what the medicine people told you to do? Oh, no, I just want to do it because, I loved it. And I said, well, I think you need to take a really, really good look at that before you do that. Because, this is a tradition that's been handed down from generation to generation. And if at any time we do something to make that a disconnection, we're going to hurt people. And if you don't know to feel people in the lodge, if you don't know how to feel if they're having too much suffering, if you don't know when to open the door, and you don't know, what song to bring in for what cause, for what reason, for what medicine you put on the stones, if you don't open yourself up to be a hollow bone, these are all the things you need to think about. You could hurt people, and just like that thing that happened out there in Arizona, the guy that, out like 3 or 4 of those people, and that scared a lot of people. Even today, we still get people who come into our lodge who just, as soon as it gets hot, they panic and they run out, which is okay. And my pop, he has to constantly say that, you're not a hostage. When you want the door open, just yell for it and go out and take some water and calm yourself down. And traditionally, there's been a lot of medicine people who've told me about tradition. And when the Sweat Lodge first came to the people, the people were able to transform themselves. He said that during the lodge, they would jump into the lodge, and the second round they'd come out as an animal. They'd come running out as a deer, as a bear, as an eagle, come flying out. And then they would run across the land, and they would come back to the lodge and come back as a man. He says things have changed over the years. If you've noticed, a lot of people are doing it for their own gain. And that's not what it means. We're here to teach our children how to live a better life, how to respect the world, how to respect this life, how to respect the water, how to respect these herbs and the plants and the animals. And when we go into our Nipi, our Sweat Lodge, we become reborn, and we have a new chance to change. And for the ceremonies that are occurring, I believe for myself, it's important to be a pipe carrier. It's important to have structure. It's important to have elders. It's important to have a council. When you have problems with people in your family or in your community, it's important to go to the elders to straighten out the situation. You got to know how to pass tobacco. You have to know just the little things that make a big difference. Asking questions is good, but if you talk too much, they will stop talking to you. Stuff like that. So it's I've known in the past people who've taken the Sweat Lodge and made it for their own personal gain. I've known people who have claimed to be medicine people and shook the lodge while they said, "Ooh, spirits are here. Can you feel that?" And I've known people who've made their lodges out of copper so they can actually amplify the energy inside the lodge. So I've seen a lot of things, but as anything else, it's what you choose to do. And, I choose to follow the elders. I choose to follow what they say, and the Lakota lodges are different from the Karuk lodges. The Lakota lodges are above ground. The Karuk lodges are usually done below ground. And because they're more, they have their cedar structures. And it's really cool how they do that. But, as far as the traditions and the ceremonies go, I think that, it's whatever that, Creator will call you when you find your integrity. When it's time for you to do ceremony, you'll know exactly when to do that. You'll know who to go to, and you won't, and as soon as you hear those drums, as soon as you hear that singing, as soon as you smell that smoke or the sweetgrass, you'll be driven there, and there's a lot of different aspects about the Sweat Lodge, and a lot of them don't want people to drink and use drugs. There's a lot of people that take medicines before they go into lodges, and that's their belief, and that works for them. That you got to understand that the medicine calls you. You don't call to it. You don't try to take on another person's medicine because it looks so fun, because you can hurt people. And we're there to pray. We're there to make things better for us. So when you go to a lodge, the medicine people always say that the chanupa, the pipe, takes care of the people. You don't have to, you take care of your pipe, you wrap your pipe, you let your pipe tell you what it wants. The spirit inside that pipe will help you if you walk a good road, if you follow the 7 rites of the chanupa, and that pipe will take care of the people. So you could be, unbeknownst to you could invite somebody who's been drinking for the last 17 days, comes staggering into your lodge, and you're sitting there at the door. Creator does not want you to kick that guy out. It's that person's responsibility to follow their own heart. And if they come there and drunk and they do that and they'll get a lesson, whether they know it or not, they will get a lesson, and that's between them and the Creator. When I first started pouring lodges, back in the 80s, 89, 90, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was afraid, and I kept trying to control everything. I was telling people, "Oh, I don't want you in here with that medicine, or I could smell marijuana on you, I could smell alcohol on you. I don't want you in here." And the elders told me to stop doing that. You're not God, you're not Creator, you're not in control of this. And I felt bad, and they said, "That's why people aren't coming, because you don't make it safe." They said, "You create a lodge and people are attracted to it. That's between them and Creator. That's not up to you to judge. You let them come and find their own lessons, because sometimes people need a hard lesson." So as much as I want to say great things about, people who pour lodges, there's all kinds of different ways, just learning to choose right from wrong, learning to follow your heart, not your head, learning to walk a good road and feel your spirit being connected to what's going on. Because everything in the presentation of that lodge could look pretty. The land can look pretty. The fire looks great. The rocks are big and glowing. It smells good. But when you get inside and you look at the person who's pouring, you can instantly just say, "Oh, this isn't for me. Thank you for inviting me, but I'm out of here." And you have to really be mindful about where you go for ceremony.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with what you just said. And for me, it was, I thought about building a sweat lodge on my land for years, and I just never did it, until finally it was that calling, is that you need to just do this, and it wasn't coming from me per se, as it was coming from the need of connecting back to Mother Earth, and for those who want to also connect to Mother Earth and to manifest their intentions and to come into the self-realization of everything was the whole reason behind it. It wasn't for any type of gain, any type of personal gain for myself. It was just and that's how I've been looking at it, is that it's not for me, it's for others. And I know that anybody who comes out there, they also have a lesson to teach me. Whether they're 18 years old or they're 55 years old, they still have something. I can learn something from everybody. And I just kind of think it's about holding that space, and holding that level of consciousness, and connecting back to Earth, and saying, "Hey, we're still here. We acknowledge you. We recognize you, and we are grateful for the land we walk on, and the air we breathe, and the sun that shines on our face." So I definitely get what you're saying, and I definitely agree. But for me personally, I felt that calling, that I had to do something more than what I was doing. I had to be more in tune and more connected, because I just at that time I was on this spiritual path, but I wasn't doing anything for anybody else. I'm coming into my own realizations and my own understandings, and I'm not sharing that with anybody. So yeah. Anyways, we're at the top of the hour. That was the quickest hour in 4 minutes that I've ever experienced.
Jake, LP's doing a great job with the lodge. I've been to several of them, and the energy there is awesome. So, I just keep urging him to keep on with what he's doing there.
I go to many also, and I love them. I'll keep going back.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour, guys, and we will be back after a short break. Matthew, what's your website if people want to get a hold of you?
My website is www.ascendedmasterangels.com.
And have
my
you
email? Okay.
have you got any have you got any books out there, or I know you've got some stuff you do through the website, some CDs or something like that too, and
Yeah, I have instruction CDs that it's just it's a tester. I've been trying to get, this information and this wisdom out, from having classes and doing it online. But, to tell you the truth, people have a hard time trusting because in Mount Shasta, you can throw a rock and hit a massage therapist or a psychic,
right.
And there are so many people out there promoting themselves as being the psychic, being the one, being the answer, and I could see why people would have a hard time, unless told by another person that they trust, saying, hey, you got to check this guy out. He has the real deal. So I decided to put all my lessons and my levels and my teachings on CD to give people an impression about what I do. It's like chair massage. You don't have to take your clothes off. You leave your clothes on. People can feel the confidence in your hands. You rub them down. You give them good shiatsu treatment, help them feel better, and then they want to make an appointment with you to do a longer session.
Right.
So I'm kind of putting that out there in a CD form or MP3 for people to experience my voice and some of the energy of the masters, the activations. I have activations on CD for people who want to better themselves and help them to amplify the work that they already do, and so this is the work with the masters. So yeah, I have a few things out. Books, I'm still thinking about writing one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it.
I know that feeling, trust me. All right, so guys, there's a link on the show page here wherever you happen to be listening to this at, the iTunes, the Vimos, the Podbeans, wherever it landed. In the info tab there, you will have a link to his website, www.ascendedmasterangels.com, and you can hook up with Matthew and check out some of the stuff he's got. We will be back shortly. If you are out there and want to hear hour 2, you will gonna have to go over to www.100thmonkeyradio.com and check out the 5 years worth of shows we've got there in the archives. Good stuff. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
How do you wash your sweet potato?
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next hour.
Put aside your petty fight, serve your dignity. You've got to show the heart that you've been hiding and set it free. There's just one door, we're gone wrong. We all need love, and if the cure for one is the cure for us all, there's an urgent message trying to reach you. Excuse yourself and pick up the call. You gotta pick up the call. You came the same way the very next day. The words they just kept on coming through. Hard to conceive if you believe me. This is what you really want to do. You got to tune into your inner being. Now let it be. You got to activate your inner vision. Now let it see. Cast out the doubt, the mindless chatter. Now let it go. It's time to tap into the heart of the matter. 'Cause don't you know, there's just one cure in a world gone wrong. We all need loving, and if the cure for one is the cure for all, step right up and don't be shy. Excuse yourself and pick up the call. You gotta pick up the call. complicated. It's really all quite simple in the end. You got to tune into your inner being. Now let it be. You got to activate your inner vision. Now let it see. Cast out the doubt that the mind is chatter. Now let it go. It's time to tap into the heart of the matter. 'Cause don't you know, there's just one cure in the world gone wrong. We only love it. And if the cure for one is the cure for us all, step right up and don't be shy. Got to look yourself right in the eye. There's a magic moment trying to meet you, an urgent message trying to reach you. The phone is ringing off the wall. So pick up the call. You gotta pick up the call. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick up the call.